Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have some good news for you. I think it's good news because often when I'm dealing with a beginner, they're easy for me to pull out topics that are science fiction for them, but are commonplace for all of us who are somewhat experienced. And I'm often asked, how much is there to learn in this job? How much is there to study? How many things are there to know? Well, I have really good news for you. You don't have to learn anything by heart, not even programming the book. You're not taking an exam. I have my manuals and tables in my every day. If I have to remember a tolerance something, I don't have to remember it by heart. Many times I remember if it's a diameter, let's say, which is normal for me, but generally speaking, everything, everything you need can be carried with you on a smartphone. There's simply tables, there's rating tables, tolerance, tables, and machine manuals. I don't have to memorize the roughing macro or the threading macro. Sure, I use some fixed cycle macro every day. I call them macros. They're called fixed cycles. They're hard, but you have to know them by heart. You have. When I give a course at a company, I propose a little exercise. At the end of the course, what really amazes the students is that I don't forbid use of notes, the machine manual, no tables, cell phones, or even artificial intelligence. Nothing is forbidden because we're not under exam. We have to go from a drawing to a part. Anything that helps us do this is very welcome, of course. So at the beginning, I'll always have a manual in my hand. After a year, I'll know certain things by heart. After 10 years, if I always work on the same CNC, I'll have everything here. Oh. But this is simply a consequence of things. But try to think of someone who works in a company that hasn't unified the CNCs, which therefore has Funkfarger Erdan Foundry, Siemens. Do you think that we remember everything by heart? But in my company, there was Kokwesi, which is completely different from all the others. Siemens, but still the first one, not the black one, the green one on a black background. The Fanuc, the primordial ones and the latest ones. Do you think I remember? I remember all the memory of the Fanucs that I used every day. Yeah. Yes. On the CS, every time I had to use a fixed cycle, I had to go and see it because it's very complicated, despite being an excellent CNC. Today, for a customer, I often only program the Philips 432 of the old MAO from the 90s. Do you think I remember the fixed cycle by heart? Absolutely not. And here I also advertise for my German friend. This is the Philips manual. Yeah. It's fine. Malgraziano 432T. You don't have to learn it from us, but you do have to learn one thing. If we take the logic of the Memmish operations. So you have to know that when you have a rough Ecam cycle, you have to give it a profile, a starting block or a final block to make the machine understand where the profile is included. He could a depth of cut, a G that defines in which direction to rough, and a feed that will determine the roughing feed while between the starting block And the final block, there will be feeds that will be used only by the finishing can cycle. You have to learn that G41 and G42, which are the two radius compensation, can sometimes be inserted before and after the definition of the cycle, sometimes simply before or after the finishing canned cycle. Or I reason differently. For example, I don't really like the finishing can cycle, so I rough with the roughing can cycle. Then I copy and paste again the entire area relating to the path definition. Modify it so that if I have a small chamfer, a small radius to fix, I fix it only in finishing. I fix it only in finishing. I like it like this, but there is no right or wrong way. So the good news today is that the mechanic, the turner, the programmer doesn't have to learn anything by heart. They simply have to use logic, their brain, and also their let's say signature, their way of programming. Each programmer programs themselves. There is no right way, no wrong way. The only thing that matters is the goal. The piece must conform to the tolerances, geometric errors, and customer requests. That's the only thing that matters. After that, you can get by with a 10-line program or not even do the roughing can cycle and do 40 lines, 30 lines. This may also make sense. Let me give you an example. I have machined some superalloys where roughing must always be done in a conical path alternating with a cylindrical path and a conical path. The G71 cycle, let's say, when they do it par excellence, is not good. This is because since it is a superalloy, the point of attachment of the ins had to vary as I went along. This is to reduce. Let's say where at point of material attachment, a little tip, a little trick that I also want to give you in this video. This is done with superalloys where there's a particular crust on the first pass, smooth pass. So I proceed conically so as not to always attack the tool in the same point. That is where the tool finds the incision in the material down. With superalloys it makes sense, and therefore the fixed pouring cycle no longer makes sense. Well, I hope I have given you some good news first of all, and that I have made it possible for you to spend 5 minutes in my company in a pleasant way. Trant. As always, Traxxas, I remind you that if you like my content, you can support the channel with a small subscription, with a super thank you, with a free coffee using the method you find in the description, or by shopping on Amazon using the link in the description. Okay. Otoetse describing Amazon using the link in the description. I remind you that it is also possible to obtain a certificate of participation in the courses that you can find on the main page. I thank you for being with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos. Bye, guys.